want to welcome everyone here. It's great to see so many smiling faces and a positive attitude in this community. But good evening, Council President King, members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you tonight and recap some of the things that we've done in the last year and outline some of our goals and objectives for 2014. I'll put on a pair of glasses because the aging process is catching up with me. But I want to thank my wife, Caroline, for being here tonight, joining us, and how she tolerates the late-night phone calls and some of the demands of this schedule. My brother, Gregory, who's been a long-time supporter and just makes things easier. I want to welcome Anthony Jasinski, the new chair of the Schenectady County Legislature. I've known him since chief, even before that, in the Rotterdam Police Department. He follows in the long line of strong leadership on the Schenectady County Legislature. It is a group that is now geared toward results. We look forward to working together, and I'm proud of our friendship and proud of the relationship the city has with the Schenectady County and look to continue to build that. So Anthony, thank you for being here tonight. Ed Kozier, former City Council member of the Board of Education. Larry Spring, our superintendent of schools, come in. Chuck Steiner, the president of the Chamber of Schenectady County. Thank you, Chuck, for being here tonight. John Roth from Highbridge Development, one of those people who's had vision and tenacity to see the opportunity within this community. David Bucco of the Gillespie Corporation. David, again, I thank you and your team for the continued efforts that you that you have made and you make every day to make this community better. Ray Legier from Legier Restoration. You know, his sense of humor, his tenacity, again, to solve problems. Ray, I'm just proud to have you as a friend, part of this community, and you just make everyone's job so much easier. Antonio Civitella, the rising star here, innovative, but just a good man here in Schenectady, and so we're proud to have you tonight. The representatives of Angelo Santa Barbara, Philip Steck, and Senator C.C. Kachik, thank you for being here. Bill Cook from the letter carriers, Ed Ritz, members of the PBA, Richard McElravy-Ackert from CSEA, representing the men and women who do the day-to-day work here in the city of Schenectady. Thank you for joining us. I want to thank again everyone here and those who are able to watch this in all our city council meetings at home via Open Stage Media. Open Stage Media is a model of public access, bringing the level of transparency to this government that other communities envy. 2013 was generally a good year. We saw the continuation of development in our downtown with the completion of the new $7 million headquarters for TransFinder, new restaurants, Zen, Johnny's, Center Street Pub, the transitioning of Tai Tai, the expansion of Murata's and Nico's Pizza. There were significant milestones for Frank Merkin Product, Ellis School of Nursing, Ellis Medicine's new emergency room, Warren Tire, Hermes Music, Civitello's Italian Pastry, and Brown's Archery, to name a few. We were fortunate to obtain $5 million to the Governor's Regional Economic Development Council consolidated funding process for the Alco site on Erie Boulevard, one of the largest awards in the state. With the help from our state legislators, we were able to restore the tax-exempt status of 13 churches, which allowed their congregations to continue to do the good work they do for Schenectady. We continued our monthly open house program, working with the city school district, realtors, and bankers to show the opportunity for home ownership within our community. We instituted health care reforms, which Schenectady County helped negotiate as part of our sales tax agreement, and I thank Chris Gardner for doing that. The CSEA benefit plan, the Canadian drugs, and our Medicare Advantage plans are saving us about $3 million a year. The financial condition of the city of Schenectady continues to be stable. We will have a modest surplus from the 2013 budget. The city has managed within the constraints of the 2% tax cap set by the state, and in 2013 began using capital projects reserves, which will move Schenectady toward a pay-as-you-go approach for funding some of our capital needs. After review of existing bond proceeds conducted during 2013, as well as the use of capital projects reserves that we created at the end of 2012, we adopted a 2014 capital budget that is 35% less than that of 2013's capital budget. This helps improve the city's liquidity by reducing the amount of debt we are anticipating issuing. Overall, I anticipate the 2013 general fund balance will have increased approximately $1.4 million since 2011. And additionally, to improve our budget flexibility, we increased the amount of our fund balance designated as unassigned from $76,000 in 2011 to $3.7 million in 2012. An approximately 98% increase. And I anticipate when we close out the books in 2013, the unassigned fund balance will closely mirror that of the 2012 amount. Our enhanced in-house collection efforts resulted in 42% of the 2012 property tax liens being paid and reduced the number of properties with liens by a little over 49%. This year, we'll be able to accept payments online, which will clearly make Schenectady more user-friendly and hopefully will encourage people to pay in a more timely fashion. In 2013, we continued the trend to reduce our Part 1 crimes, the most serious crimes. We've seen a reduction of just over 13% in the last 2 years. Proactive policing produced just under a 30% decrease in our car larcenies. Active warrants reduced by 20%. Our utilization of data-driven policing is showing results. And as we become more sophisticated in our data collection and better integrated in our analysis with both code enforcement, these efforts should continue. In October, Commissioner Bennett and Chief Kilcullen gave a presentation of our highly successful enforcement efforts dealing with problem bars. There were a few establishments that continually needed aggressive policing. And as the Commissioner pointed out to you, that during an approximate 24-month period, they generated around 1,000 calls for service. I met with the owners of each of these establishments, along with the Public Safety Commissioner, the Chief of Police, Fire Chief, and the Building Inspector. I told each of them that we wanted them to be successful businesses. We wanted to work with them and to help them in any way we could. But if they continue to create a problem environment of nuisance calls, fights, stabbings, shootings, and even homicides, I wanted them out of business. Even with our efforts to work with them, the underlying problems continued. Today, every one of these places is out of business, and this is a better and safer community. I compliment the Public Safety Command staff, the men and women of the police department and fire departments, in our code operations, and our friends in the State Liquor Authority for a job well done. Over the last several years, we've seen a proliferation of neighborhood stores. Many are great places run by good people who bring convenience and values to our neighborhood. However, there's some that don't. Instead, they foster an environment of drug activity, buy stolen merchandise, and their accounting is creative at best, and they clearly have a negative impact on our neighborhoods. I've directed the Public Safety Commissioner and the Police Chief to put in place a proactive plan to deal with these businesses. Modeled after our efforts of dealing with the problem bars, I, along with the Public Safety Commissioner, the Police Chief, the Fire Chief, the Building Inspector, and other appropriate city staff, will be meeting with these owners. We want them to be successful. We want them to make money, and they should add value to our neighborhoods. But if they don't play by the rules, I want them out of business. And I feel confident that next year I will be able to report back to you that we have made significant improvements in the quality of our neighborhood stores in this community. Our regionally recognized fire department responded to just under 15,000 calls for service in 2013. These men and women of this department continue to amaze me with their ability to contain major fires and minimize damage to adjacent buildings. Our arrest rate in arson cases is currently about 40% in this community, where the national average is about 7%. They're doing a good job of fire suppression, good cause and origin investigations, and they're holding accountable those individuals who are intentionally starting fires. More than 60% of our calls for service in the fire department are emergency medical calls. This is the type of call that continues to grow, and that we need to look for ways to better manage our response to a large percentage of these calls. These are calls that come from individuals that have medical conditions or situations that does not need the full deployment of paramedics and ambulance transportation to an emergency room. This is a problem that I will assign to our new fire chief in the next few months. We must work together with our healthcare community to look for ways to better educate individuals on the appropriate service providers that they should turn to. And I do want to thank Chief Delarocco, who is unable to be here tonight, for his exemplary service for this community, and wish him and his family only the best as he retires from the Schenectady Fire Department in the next few weeks. Our golf course had a very successful year. We had approximately 28,000 rounds of open golf, and with league play, our total was about 50,000 rounds of golf. The condition of the course remained one of the best in the area. The transition to a new pro, Matt Daly, went very well. Matt has done an exceptional job of projecting a positive and friendly and great community image at Schenectady Muni. I want to thank the Golf Advisory Committee, chaired by Don Clow, for the work they have done. Soon we will present to the City Council a recommendation for a consultant to start the drainage and irrigation improvements and the implementation of the course's long-range plan. I would remind everyone that money spent at the golf course does not affect the general fund. The course is self-financing, and our golfers pay for it. Our Office of General Services. Last year, we continued our focus on the rehabilitation of street surface in our city. We paved about 6.5 miles of street. We started the rehab of Lower State Street, and we almost completed the reconstruction of Erie Boulevard. The top coat of blacktop and landscaping will be done first thing in the spring. Our wastewater treatment plant, under the leadership of Director of Water and Wastewater Paul LaFond, continues to be a model of municipal efficiency. It operated last year with 100% regulatory compliance, and since we brought the plant back under full city control, we have had 0 odor complaints from our neighbors. That, I believe, is the first time that's happened in history of the plant. And we save at that plant about $25,000 to $29,000 a month, where we are generating electricity with a cogen facility there. And as we close out the books this year, there'll be approximately $290,000 credit that will take for revenue coming in for septic and sludge treatment at the facility. Not the most sexy topic, but it's bottom line revenue that would not have been available to this city had we continued with a private vendor running it. One of the areas that we have talked about that we as a community need to improve is our recycling. Commissioner Carl Olson and I have had conversations about helping redesign some of our recycling brochures with Chris Riley, Al Fox, and Chuck Hunt, who are joining us tonight here in the front from Creating Y Media. Carl has some experience with different recycling projects and thought that a community-wide project needed to have a youth component. Chris and his team came up with what I thought was a clear and simple message to start our new recycling campaign. It starts with me. And if you look at the graphics, they're a little bit humorous, so look at it. But as we talked about it, the rules, the goals, the benefits of recycling are fairly simple to understand. It's something that a 5th or 6th grader gets. As we thought about it, most of the things that we do are not that complicated. If you do construction on your home, you need a building permit. If you own a dog, you need a license. If you own a house, you need to pay taxes. If you park in front of a meter, you need to put money in it. If a 5th or 6th grader can understand this, it's a message that we must get to the rest of our residents in the city. So I say it starts with me tonight. Next week it'll be the city council. Then who knows? We'll go across the state and across the country solving all these municipal problems. But it started with me in creating Media Y here tonight. So I thank you guys for your help, and again, looking forward to an exciting undertaking project. Home ownership made easy in Schenectady. It's kind of the umbrella title that I've put to a number of our programs that we have. And my goal is to make home ownership, not only buying a home, but the lifetime of ownership, easy and cost effective to create real value in the city of Schenectady. Distressed property in our community still remains our biggest challenge. 2.5 years ago, when I assumed this position, all of our records and code enforcement were manual, paper files. Our chief building inspector, Eric Schilling, and his staff have done a great job implementing the landlord registration program and the vacant building inventory. And through their efforts, our code citations are up over 95%. This continues to send the message that we're going to work with people who are willing to work with us to improve their property. But those that don't, I want them in court, and I want them held accountable for their inaction. We've been fortunate to have so many community partners step forward to help in creative ways to help market Schenectady's housing potential to middle-class homeowners. We first had KeyBank come forward in the fall of 2011 with a very aggressive mortgage package. The Daily Gazette was an early supporter of our efforts. Ray Legier, who's here tonight, again, one of the people who stepped up to the plate trying to solve problems, trying to make things happen. We had NBT Bank, Citizens Bank, Prospect Lending, Trustco Bank, and other financial institutions step up and offer to work with homebuyers in our community. We've had a broad group of realtors, Prudential Manor Homes, Realty USA, Coldwell Banker. I semi-joke that it's easier to list the companies who are not helping with our homes program than the ones that are. But these realtors have been aggressively marketing the property in Schenectady, and I thank them for their help. Last year, we held a very successful Realtor Day that brought approximately 200 realtors and bankers to hear about housing opportunities, economic development activities, and initiatives in the city and in the school district. We again will hold this event this year, and I want to thank Mary D'Alessandro from Prudential Manor Homes, who headed up this effort. And thank you, Mary. It's clearly changed the mind of many people about Schenectady's image. And I do want to thank Larry Spring, Superintendent of the City School District, for his partnership and help the school district has provided over the past year. Larry clearly has a more difficult job than I do, and his success will have a greater impact on home values than the initiatives that we are doing here at City Hall. So if Larry asks for your help, please help him in any way you can. Send that message back to our state legislators, because some of the things are a little bit controversial, but they have an effect dramatically on the quality of life in this community and our tax rate. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce a new partner, Union Graduate College. We have with us tonight Mel Chudzik, who's the former dean of the college and currently a professor there. Malcolm Butthorn, who is the team coordinator for Union Graduate College Homes Capstone Project. Brian Gallagher, Molly McElroy, and Janet Tracy. Over the next few months, this team, working with city staff and our community partners, will evaluate the many aspects and facets of our homes project, looking to see what works, what needs improvement, and put in place a formal business plan that will enable us to better market and articulate the housing opportunities in the city of Schenectady. In conclusion, I want to thank again everyone for coming out tonight. I want to thank our great city staff, Bill Winkler, Director of Operations, Commissioner of General Services, Carl Olson, Finance Commissioner, Deborah DiGenova, Public Safety Commissioner, Wayne Bennett, our Fire Chief, Michael Delarocco, Police Chief, Brian Kilcullen, for the job they do every day. The City Council and my administration have been tasked with answering the question, what makes a good and thriving community? We've answered by proposing housing initiatives and revitalization efforts, striving to exemplify responsible and transparent government, making sure our public safety operations are responsive and effective, and agreeing to make sound investments in our city's infrastructure. We're working with our school district to improve the education of our children, continue to build on the success of our thriving Unified Economic Development team by creating new partnerships, recruit new investments, both large and small, in addition to supporting our already established businesses and community organizations. As you look around our city, you can see the results of our efforts. It is truly an exciting time for the city of Schenectady. However, our work is not nearly done. So I thank you for your past support. Look forward to working with you this year as we continue to make Schenectady a better place to work, visit, and call a home. Thank you. Thank you. Madam President, I yield the floor.
All right, we'll get back to our regular business if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Barrazo.